Life is short, alarmingly short when you break it down. The average human lifespan is roughly 80 years. That's 960 months, 4,160 weeks, or about 29,200 days. Factor in sleep, which eats up about a third of that time, and you're left with far less conscious time than you might think. By age 30, you've spent over 10,000 of those days, and if you're lucky enough to live to 80, you only have about 20,000 days to shape a meaningful life. Each day is a non-renewable resource, and the urgency to live well couldn't be clearer. But what does it mean to live well? In a world obsessed with instant gratification, material wealth, and social media validation, the question of how to live a good life apparently lacks an answer that is obvious to all. While modern society offers countless self-help books, life coaches, and productivity hacks, few offer a better guide to a meaningful life than Aristotle and his concept of eudaimonia, often translated as happiness or flourishing. For Aristotle, human flourishing goes beyond fleeting pleasures. Living a good life doesn't mean simply indulging in pleasure, but rather living a life of virtue, purpose, and reason. But what exactly does that mean? How can Aristotle's ancient wisdom guide us in the chaos of the modern world? In the next few minutes, let's quickly break down the 5 core components of a good life, according to Aristotle. Virtue is key. At the heart of Aristotle's philosophy is the idea that the good life is rooted in virtue. Virtue, according to Aristotle, is not merely about knowing what is good, but about cultivating good habits and character traits through consistent action. Unlike modern views that often separate morality from personal happiness, Aristotle believed that living virtuously is essential to true happiness. You cannot achieve eudaimonia without being a good person. Aristotle divided virtues into 2 categories: moral virtues and intellectual virtues. Moral virtues, such as courage, generosity, honesty, and temperance, are developed through habituation. You become courageous by repeatedly facing your fears, just as you become generous by practicing acts of giving. Intellectual virtues, on the other hand, arise from education and involve the cultivation of wisdom and understanding. One of Aristotle's most famous concepts is the golden mean, which suggests that virtue lies between 2 extremes. For example, courage is the balance between cowardice and recklessness. Generosity is the mean between stinginess and extravagance. Living virtuously, therefore, requires self-awareness and moderation, choosing the right action at the right time and in the right way. Virtue isn't about rigid rules, it's about practical wisdom, knowing how to act appropriately in various situations. Purposeful living, Telos. Another cornerstone of Aristotle's philosophy is the concept of purpose, Telos. He argued that everything in nature has an inherent purpose. Just as a seed's purpose is to grow into a tree and a knife's purpose is to cut, humans also have a purpose, to use reason and live virtuously. According to Aristotle, fulfilling this purpose leads to flourishing. But what does it mean to live purposefully? For Aristotle, it involves aligning your actions with your rational nature. Humans are unique because of our capacity for reason, and living well means exercising that capacity. Pursuing wealth, pleasure, or fame isn't inherently wrong, but these should be means to an end, not the end itself. Wealth can provide the resources to live well, but it cannot be the ultimate goal. Pleasure can accompany meaningful activities, but chasing it for its own sake leads to emptiness. Living purposefully means setting meaningful goals and making choices that reflect your true nature and values. It's about living intentionally, not just drifting through life chasing temporary highs. Aristotle believed that a life driven by purpose, guided by reason, and grounded in virtue is the surest path to eudaimonia. Pleasure is good, but not the goal. While Aristotle acknowledged that pleasure is a natural part of life, he cautioned against making it the ultimate goal. Pleasure, when sought for its own sake, can lead to excess and dissatisfaction. However, when pleasure arises from virtuous activities, it becomes a valuable part of the good life. Consider the difference between indulging in junk food versus enjoying a well-prepared, healthy meal with friends. Both bring pleasure, but the latter is more fulfilling and contributes to long-term well-being. Similarly, the joy of helping a friend, mastering a skill, or engaging in meaningful work provides a deeper, more lasting pleasure than mindless entertainment or material consumption. Aristotle argued that pleasure should accompany virtuous actions. It's not that pleasure is bad, it's that it's best enjoyed as a byproduct of living well. Those who prioritize virtue and purpose naturally experience more genuine happiness than those who chase fleeting pleasures. Contemplation tops the list. Among all human activities, Aristotle believed that contemplation, theoria, is the highest and most fulfilling. Why? Because contemplation engages our rational mind, the very thing that makes us human. While moral virtues improve our character and relationships, intellectual virtues, particularly the pursuit of wisdom, allow us to understand the deeper truths of existence. Engaging in philosophical thought, appreciating beauty, studying nature, or seeking knowledge provides a unique form of happiness that material possessions or sensory pleasures cannot. This intellectual fulfillment is self-sufficient, long-lasting, and deeply satisfying. Unlike pleasures that fade, the joy of understanding and insight can enrich one's entire life. This emphasis on contemplation doesn't mean Aristotle dismissed the value of practical life or relationships. Rather, he believed that the fullest expression of human potential comes from using reason to seek truth and wisdom. In modern terms, it's about lifelong learning, critical thinking, and cultivating a curious, reflective mind. Community matters. Aristotle famously stated that man is by nature a social animal. He believed that humans cannot flourish in isolation. Community and relationships are essential for living well. Virtue itself is often developed and expressed through our interactions with others. How can you be generous, kind, or just without people around you? Friendship plays a vital role in Aristotle's vision of the good life. He identified 3 types of friendships. 1. Friendships of utility, based on mutual benefit, e.g., business partners. 2. Friendships of pleasure, based on enjoyment of each other's company, e.g., drinking buddies. And 3. Friendships of virtue, based on mutual respect and a shared pursuit of the good life. The third type, friendships of virtue, are the most enduring and enriching. Such friendships challenge us to be better, offer support in times of need, and provide opportunities to practice virtue. Beyond personal relationships, Aristotle emphasized civic engagement. Participating in the political life of the community, in his time the polis, was essential for personal and collective flourishing. Being part of a community not only allows individuals to thrive, but also ensures the stability and prosperity of society as a whole. Conclusion: living the good life today. So how do you live a good life according to Aristotle? The answer lies in a balanced, intentional life grounded in virtue, purpose, reason, and meaningful relationships. It's not about chasing fleeting pleasures, hoarding wealth, or seeking constant entertainment. True happiness, eudaimonia, comes from becoming the best version of yourself and fulfilling your potential as a rational, social being. Cultivate virtues through consistent action. Pursue goals that align with your purpose and values. Enjoy pleasures that arise from meaningful activities rather than empty indulgences. Engage your mind in contemplation and lifelong learning. Foster deep, supportive relationships and contribute to your community. Aristotle's wisdom reminds us that the good life isn't handed to us. It's built through our choices and actions. In a fast-paced world full of distractions, his philosophy offers a timeless guide. Live thoughtfully, act virtuously, connect deeply, and above all, strive to flourish.